Alrighty.
Land Transport Management Time of Use Charging Amendment Bill, second reading.
Honourable Chris Bishop.
I present a legislative statement on the Land Transport Management Time of Use Charging Amendment Bill.
That legislative statement is published under the authority of the House and can be found on the Parliament website.
Madam Speaker, I move the Land Transport Management Time of Use Charging Amendment Bill be now read a second time. Madam Speaker, this bill is a key step towards modernising our transport system by introducing time and location-based charges. The key point is this: sitting in traffic is not just a nuisance, it is a drain on productivity. And our road taxes at the moment do not reflect when or where roads are used, meaning they fail to address actual demand and network performance. This disconnect contributes towards costly congestion. A recent estimate, and there's been a range, but a recent estimate suggests Auckland could face an annual cost of $2.6 billion by 2026. So there is a need for more sophisticated demand-based pricing to ensure our system remains fair and efficient. Congestion is a tax on productivity. Madam Speaker, I was in New York a couple of months ago, which has just introduced congestion pricing. After years of scepticism, they introduced it in early 2025. Traffic dropped by 7%, over 7%. Travel times improved by up to 40% in peak hours. Speeds increased across the network, even outside the charging zone. And the people I talked to in New York said that actually the streets were a lot nicer to be on. Road pricing, Madam Speaker, can deliver real benefits when done well. Now, there's been plenty of talk about this over the years, but this is a bill that actually gets on with it. It enables a flexible framework designed to suit a wide range of situations and adapt to future needs, but with controls and safety features to protect motorists and the community. It empowers local authorities working with NZTA to introduce charges for road use during peak times, provides a clear structure for how central and local government can partner on time of use charging schemes. A central component of the bill, this is the second point, Madam Speaker, is a clear purpose for all schemes: to improve traffic flow and network productivity, not just collecting revenue. Getting this objective clear is important for public support. International experience shows that social licence matters, and this legislation puts the purpose at the front and centre of the reform. It's the backbone of the entire framework. Thirdly, the bill has strong protections to ensure transparency and foster public trust. Every scheme has to go through public consultation, impact assessments, and meet national consistency and oversight requirements. The bill contains the nuts and bolts, sets up the compliance framework, allows for adjustments to charges within limits, and lays out the processes to get schemes off the ground. The bill has been considered by the Transport and Infrastructure Committee, and I do want to thank them for their hard work on this, particularly the chair, the indefatigable Andy Foster. It's an excellent committee. I'm told they work in quite a bipartisan and cross-party way, which is the way select committee should work at their best. And the committee's recommendations on this, the changes to the bill were unanimous, which is not always the case, but it's good when they can be unanimous, and that's really good. So there is, I hope, what's that? Yeah, but no one really cares what you think, so that's sort of like, that's a bit rude.
That's not very prime ministerial.
They all smiled. We'll take it as jest tonight.
It certainly wasn't very nice. I withdraw and apologise, Honourable Julianne Genter. It certainly wasn't very nice. I wasn't aware that you dissented, but well, you put a minority report in, but the recommendations were unanimous, right? Is that right? The recs were unanimous, but the minority report. Okay. Oh, that's okay. Well, it's okay. So I was right. The recommendations were unanimous. That's okay. That's okay. That's fine. Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing what will no doubt be a very passionate contribution from the Honourable Julianne Genter, because if nothing else, there's always enthusiasm. But anyway, I think I'm right in saying that there is cross-party support for this, and it will be a momentous day when that happens, because the first economic study into congestion charging or time of use pricing, whatever you want to call it, I think I'm right in saying was in 1994. So that's now 31 years ago. And so we've known about this for a long time. And finally, we're at least going to legislate to have the framework to do it. So I do want to thank everyone who made a submission. There was 218 submissions, really diverse range of perspectives, quite a lot of contributions from local government, because ultimately they're the ones who are going to have to implement this alongside central government. So I do thank them for all of their submissions. The committee has recommended further refinements to the bill, and the government will be supporting the report back and the amendments proposed by the select committee. We welcome the recommendations to strengthen local government influence in scheme decision making. The reported back bill gives local authorities approval rights for key decisions made by scheme boards that will be set up to establish and implement time of use charging. We support that. The committee has also recommended that scheme boards have an independent chair. We support that. I believe these changes will address concerns expressed by some in their submissions on the bill. The committee has also recommended that any revenue left over after the scheme establishment and operational costs, should there be any, are prioritised on initiatives that improve the ability of people to move around the area affected by a time of use charging scheme. We support that. The committee has also recommended scheme boards be able to propose exemptions for large public transport and school buses, reflecting the need to incentivise the use of this alternative to private cars. This change does not involve opening up the bill to allow a broad approach to exemptions. There was, I understand, a bit of debate at Select Committee about this. It's a bit like, Swiss cheese. Once you put one hole in place, you can't stop. So we're not in favour of broad exemptions, which some people have argued for. We are going to have some narrow exemptions, but the whole point at some level is to make sure that people actually face a price signal. So the moment you exempt, the more people you exempt, the less effectiveness there is of the price signal. So by definition, it's not as effective, and we do want to make the scheme effective. There were some submissions, Madam Speaker, around privacy as a key matter. The bill contains several privacy safeguards, but to strengthen these, the reported back bill requires scheme proposals to include privacy impact assessments. NZTA and enforcement authorities must also consult the Privacy Commissioner and publish their privacy policies to ensure transparency and accountability. We support that. There's a range of other improvements around the legal foundations of the boards, which we support as well. So the Select Committee's done a really good job on this. I want to thank Andy Foster and the team on the Transport Infrastructure Committee. They've done an excellent job. The government's going to support this. I'm genuine in my desire to try and make sure we get some bipartisan, cross-party support on this. I think from a productivity point of view, it's just really clear now, after years and years of international experience, this is the right thing to do for our cities, to try and reduce congestion and make sure that we're making a more efficient and effective use of our roading network. Ultimately, that's what it is all about. Our intention is to try and proceed with the legislation and get it through Parliament by Christmas, so that we can work with Auckland Council as a starting point in 2026 and get a scheme in place after that. But it'd be good to get it done by Christmas. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The question is that the motion be agreed to.
Okay. Do you agree to the motion?
Well, it's usually how speeches normally sit there and go as the first thing is, do you agree to the motion? And then you go to a second person, usually someone from the opposite side of the house, which will rattle off why they should or shouldn't.
I have to admit, this is not really in my wheelhouse of policies. This is not what I know. This is not my speciality is traffic control. This is more like your cup of tea.
Yeah, I know. It's like, was it trains, planes, cars and boats, and sit there and let's talk about transport. It will be interesting the fact that, it's interesting he's mentioned the fact that you don't want to put too many exemptions in, otherwise it's going to become less effective, which is completely understandable. Because it's amazing how people will go, well, I got to sit down there and pay $2 to use the Wellington Urban Motorway during peak times. I'm not going to shop at Wellington City at all. I'll go to Queensgate. Great. Send your money to Queensgate. We don't care. If you're not going to use our motorway, good. It means I can use the motorway a bit faster because I don't have a choice.
True.
Even though I'm not actually against congestion charging, because congestion charging will at least sit there and send a message to send it in different directions. I mean, I'm speaking Wellington here, I'm not speaking Auckland, but I do know Auckland, oh my God, how long some of the congestion can go on for in Auckland. Peak hour is 4 hours, not like Wellington it's 2, in Auckland it's 4.
Mm-hmm.
It's So it's about signaling doing it. I mean, Wayne Brown's been campaigning on trying to get congestion charging in there for some time, and he's finally found ministers who are somewhat, open to it. I mean, it was for a long time they were not particularly conducive to it. I mean, maybe Wayne Brown just sits there and says the right shit at the right times, and maybe our new mayor of Wellington, Mayor-elect Andrew Little, could possibly jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah, I'm in favour of anything that gets more people onto public transport, but the only thing that concerns me is the tracking of vehicles, and the data collection around that. It's like, how that data going to be stored? What's going to happen with that data?
We already have that for tolls.
Yes.
So, and actually, here's a great example that would be on there. Like, literally, this is like the part that was scary for me was, so when I travelled on the way from Whakatane to Tauranga for the It's in the Ballot show, I went through the toll booth at 9:50 a.m. Mm-hmm. As I came back to head back to Whakatane, to where I was staying, I went through the toll booth at 9:51 p.m. Now, the thing we do have that's an advantage is we do have automatic tolling systems.
Yep.
Now, there are two ways we can go about with congestion charging. We could use our existing system, which is using the toll booths, which take the pictures of where you enter and exit. which will have date code, date time stamped and all that. I mean, it would still technically exist with speed cameras. If you're speeding, that data would still exist if you have an APRN camera that sits there and tries to treat for other things, such as whether you've got tickets and that sort of thing going on there. They do exist. Every time, actually, here's something that most people probably don't know, but every time you go past a waste station, under the new commercial waste station models, I'll see if we can actually get a picture of what the waste...
Yeah, show us a picture. Everyone likes pictures.
Yeah.
I like pictures.
So, balls, way...
But I've just been going over the RIS while you search up your picture. It says that there's only limited local information available about the net benefits on the type of traffic flow investments that this government wants to carry out. And many of them have not featured in local work programs for some time. So it's going to be interesting seeing how this works out, because we've got very limited data here, particularly in the way how this government wants to implement them. So it's kind of interesting that Bish brought up New York. I'll have to look at New York's model. Again, I didn't really have much time this week to go over
that's the one where a lot of diplomats don't pay the congestion charge.
Yeah, all I know is that Mamdani is talking about free fast buses at the moment. So I like free fast buses. Maybe there's something we can do in Wellington.
Yeah, I'm just in the process of trying to find Balls's. Oh heck! Oh my god, this is absolutely horrible. The pixelating picture that I've got here.
Let's have a look at my other notes. Okay, so here's the other thing that I also got to reading the bill is that local councils or groups of councils can propose a scheme, but if no council acts after 3 years, the government, Waka Kotahi, can be directed to start one. So I thought that was a very interesting piece of information.
Yeah, that would actually, which that could be interesting. Like, I mean,
now that
it's a double-edged sword, that one, because it's like, on one end, if you can't agree on something, yes, that would make sense about jumping in. But you don't want to impose it onto, say, a council that's just completely irrelevant to, like, it's no point saying congestion charging Alfreton Road, for example.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That's what I was more worried about, is that, okay, so now we'll go to the image here. Now, sorry, the picture's a bit grainy.
Hi, brother.
If you are going into Bulls...
Yep.
So this is as you leave Bulls. Before you can do the sneaky, let's turn right down Team Moana Road to avoid the waste station.
Yep.
You cross over. So this is what the scale camera is. Every vehicle that goes past that camera is number plate scanned.
Yep.
And it is weighed. Now, it only is enforcing those over 3.5 tons. But you see those scales on the roads there? That's the scales. Now, if we go to the other side here, so this is coming from Palmerston North, or from Wellington. So that camera up there reads your number plate and does that. And as you go around, if you sit down there and go around there, you'll come across a VMS board, which is around about. You'll come across a VMS board there. If your number plate appears on that board, you are required to stop at the waste station to be checked over. But if your number plate don't show up on there, so this technology that tracks vehicles as they go past, do it. Now, if the waste station is not manned, the data will remain collected that may trigger at a future point up the country.
Yep.
So just to sit and do it. So this is what happens if you're driving trucks at the moment on the road.
Okay.
Like, here's an example of it in use. This is for commercial vehicle enforcement. This isn't for congestion. But the same system can do the same job.
Okay.
So yes, if you ever see number plates appear on those boards, you can probably guess, what's that for. And I mean, here's something that I always like to sit there and say that's a bit of a laugh in Wellington. Now this is just more me. I'll find the picture. This is something that, the times when you actually can have a sign dedicated to one idiot, but somehow they still seem to not follow it. So here's something worth noticing. So if someone is an overhyped vehicle, goes through, you trigger the alert. That sign up there this is another form of enforcement. That sign up there is for one idiot on the road.
Nice.
Now, does anyone know Wellington? That doesn't look like it normally does when you go into Wellington as you approach Terrace Tunnel. Normally, it actually has the word called Airport C2, State Highway 1.
Yep.
But you notice how the board says over high vehicle exit off at the terrace.
Okay, I mean, yeah, okay, all right. So all that stuff is fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, all right. So that's not too much of an issue. Yeah, okay. I don't have too many complaints about this building. All I can see is that it could probably piss off. It might piss off the farmers around here, considering we've got no congestion. So it's like, okay, so.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, like, it depends where it's placed. Like, it's like a farmer in a car. You know what? I can't stand the congestion charges in Auckland. I think it's an outrage. And then you're going to say, if you've been talking, oh, get real. I'm not going to the North Island. I can't keep away from I have to stay in Southland for the cows. But I'm outraged that there's a congestion charge. You'll have those people who'll sit down there and just make a big deal out of nothing.
Yes, well, they should learn to embrace the back roads then.
They probably use them a lot.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to our Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok. Those guys are all the paper pie.